Okay, what we have here and what we're going to review today is the Marvel Legends series. This is Build a Wendigo. And as you can see, there are 6 figures, and we're going to go through each of them. And when we're done, we're going to put the Wendigo together. So we're going to start with Nightcrawler. And Nightcrawler, I don't know if you guys were a fan of him. I really liked him. There's not many Nightcrawler figs that you can get, so this is pretty cool. He has this long tail that I wish it had more of the bendability in it. It doesn't really, but you can still wrap it around things. So pretty cool figure. Thin arms, thin legs, which is always troubling because you might break them, especially young kids. Now he comes with the Wendigo. This is the left arm. And we'll show you what this looks like. It looks like it's going to be pretty cool and big because it's a pretty big arm here. So we'll build that at the end. But this is Nightcrawler. He probably ranges about $20 if you can find him somewhere, not too expensive. The next one we have here is X-Force Wolverine, which is really cool. One of the greatest things about this Wolverine are the claws. These are claws that they're a little thicker, so if you have any of the older Wolverine figures, they're really thin and flexible, floppy, they break off easy. These are actually pretty sturdy, which is cool. Really like it. And he is the size that you would expect Wolverine, who is much smaller of a character. And he comes with Wendigo's head. So a great piece because you get the great Wolverine and you also get Wendigo's head. And if you can't get the full complete build a figure for Wendigo, you can always use this head on maybe some of the others that you have collected over the time. Alright, so we're just going to do a little bit of comparison. So this is the one that you'll get with the Build-A-Figure Wendigo, and this is another Marvel Legends, which is the original type of uniform that he has on. He has interchangeable, this one comes with interchangeable claws.
Like detachable claws.
Detachable claws, which are a little bit more floppy. They're not like these, which are the really cool ones. But overall, I mean, it's just different paints, but they're really cool figures. So this one is Cannonball. Now, Cannonball is a really, overall, a good character if you ever read the comics or had the old figures. But this one is probably one of the worst in the line, but if you want to build a Wendigo, you're going to have to get this. So let's pop this out. Here's why it's terrible, and I don't know why they did this. If you're a displayer, it's pretty cool, but if you're a collector and want to play with them, it's not. Well, first of all, we'll show you Wendigo's right foot. Pretty big, pretty cool. We'll put that right there. Obviously, you're going to need to buy this figure in order to get the complete set, unless you want to just try to find the right foot
legs
somewhere else. So here's why this is a terrible figure. Display-wise, it's cool if you're going to put it on a shelf. Like, look, he's blasting off. However, how can you play with this figure with the others? He doesn't have legs. So what they should have done is had a detachable bottom half here where you pop this out and put on legs, which would have made it so much cooler. And this figure itself, I mean, you spend probably $20 for it, and look, it's really nothing. It's a half figure. They should have given you a half price with another figure as just as a side fig, because overall this is, I mean, look, what are you gonna do with this? It's pretty cool face scan though, and it would have been really awesome had they done the legs, but they didn't. So you really can't do much, but other than the face scan really is good, and it's really sad, and I hope one day they actually do a Cannonball, especially there's the new Mutants coming out soon, which has Sam Guthrie as a character, so maybe they'll use it for that one. Alright, next up we have Marvel's Boom Boom. Now, when I was younger, I remember her name was actually Boomer at the time. She always blew bubbles.
She said, "Okay, Boomer."
Almost like a Jubilee type of character. So we're gonna pop this one open. Now, most people would probably say this is the second worst one in the line after Cannonball, but at least this comes with an interchangeable head and you can play with it because it has the legs. And speaking of legs, you're gonna get the left leg of Wendigo. Again, really looks like it's gonna be really cool when we build it. Now, she's gonna come with an extra hand, if you want to have someone help you out with an extra hand, and 2 fires here, and an interchangeable head where she's not blowing the bubble. The bubble is pretty cool if you're playing if you're displaying it. If you're not, you want the other one. Now, I've mentioned before, you're gonna want to put anything that's small pieces, set them aside, put them in a plastic bag so you don't lose them. Because if ever in the future these want to be sold, you're gonna want to have those.
Yeah.
I always, when I pull them out, I bend their joints just to make sure that they're not too stiff, because otherwise they will break.
I know the
my
Marvel
kids have
Legends
broken many.
especially, they break extremely easily.
So you want to bend all the joints.
Like the Toy Biz ones never really broke for me, but the Hasbro ones were always very weak.
It's not a bad figure, but you know,
Look at this one.
it's pretty cool. The bubble actually looks really good. If you want to focus on that, it's a pretty cool bubble. I can tell you right now, play with it for too long, that thing's gonna pop right out, and then it probably goes the value. I'm gonna pop her other head on. Okay, now we have this one, which has the big torso. So this is Alpha Flight's Guardian, which is pretty cool, especially if you are from Canada and like the Alpha Flight comic series. So this is the one that, this will probably run you 20 bucks. And it has the biggest piece of the Build-A-Figure. So it's not gonna come with any accessories other than the torso and the tail of Wendigo. So pop that tail right in there, just like that, and we have a big old torso. That's going to be good. Now remember, Alpha Flight actually did face Wendigo quite a bit. He was in the Alpha Flight comics because they were in Canada, very cold. So that's pretty cool. And so this is Guardian. I think Guardian's a pretty cool figure. Guardian fig. Pretty decent figure. One of the things I want to note, like I said, you want to bend their spots. He actually is very stiff. I don't know if it was because he was in Wendigo's torso too long, but he is super stiff, probably the most stiff of any of the ones I have. So you want to check that out. And I just want to come down here to one of the feet. This is how it came. And it's so movable that you can see this actually broke. And this probably broke in production because that looks like an old break and it doesn't even move back in. So as long as this is kept fairly good, you can actually see the movement in there. And not played too much with that type of foot. The foot actually is still intact. It's just, you might want to tape it or glue it. But just so movable. In the package, he looked like a really cool figure. Outside the package, he's just okay.
He's just a repaint of like a torso that they've used multiple times.
So he's just okay. But again, you do get the big torso and the tail. So the last figure in the line, and probably, actually definitely the best figure, and most expensive. So this one, if you purchase it, you probably won't get it for any cheaper than $30. Now when they first came out, they were about $20, but this is gonna run you a little bit more. He's a sturdy, heavy figure. It's Mr. Sinister, one of the greatest villains. Oh, and he is just cool. I can tell you that right now.
One of my favorites from the TV show.
So he's gonna complete the set. Here's Wendigo's right arm, but we'll show you what Wendigo looks like once completed in a second. And then we're gonna pop him out. This is amazing. Oh, this is super cool. And I used to have the old school little Toy Biz ones, which was pretty cool back in the day. But this is much cooler. This is some thick material. Doesn't look like it's going to be damaged too bad if you play with it. It might pop off at some point if you play with it too rough, but this is a cool figure. Now, if anyone had the Toy Biz one, you would press a button in the back and this thing would actually light up, which was pretty cool. But this is super awesome. And there was some talk that he was going to be entered into the movies. His name, Nathaniel Essex, was actually at the end on a briefcase in one of the movies, but it never actually came to fruition.
It was at the end of Apocalypse.
But this is, he might be in the MCU coming up. He's a really cool villain that they haven't used in the movies yet. Awesome figure. Absolutely. Alright, so I just wanted to do a comparison of what I grew up with. This is the early 90s versus what kids nowadays grow up in. This, first of all, cape is amazing. I can't stress that enough. This is worth it just by that. This is the old one, a detachable cape that was just this plastic. And you used to have some, I mean, if I put a new battery in, it would work, but you used to press this button and it would light up, which was at the time was really awesome. But as you can see, if we put these together, 1990s, 2020. There's a big difference there. Show you the difference from what I grew up with in the 1990s versus today. This face mold, face sculpt here is awesome compared to this one, but this one has legs. So if I had to choose a figure, I would choose one with legs versus one with just fire. So big difference here. Which one can you play with? This one you can display in some kind of cool fashion. So this was the one I was telling you about, X-Force one that comes in the Build-A-Figure Wendigo. I just wanted to compare it to one of the Toy Biz ones that you would get. Pretty cool here. It would come with a mask that actually you could, I have it, but I can't find it right now. That would be like a ring. The kid would use it as a ring. It would be his mask, or you pop it on as his mask, and also retractable claws, which is a pretty cool idea there. But these are similar in attire, but much different figures. All right, so now everyone's going to decide once they build their figure, if they're able to, which one ranking they want. But first I want to actually show you this Build-A-Figure. So this is what you get when it's done, and this is really cool. Let's compare it to a Wolverine. As you can see the size there, and if you've ever read the comics, Wolverine did face Wendigo quite a few times. Really cool figure. This is him with Guardian. But let's just turn this thing around so you can kind of see. It's one of the better Build-A-Figures that I've seen before. If you ever wonder which are some of the best, Juggernaut's really good, as is Blob. So here are just some other Build-A-Figures.
Wendigo.
So we're just going to focus on these three just to give you a comparison-wise. So we got Blob, which I still think is one of the best Build-A-Figures. Juggernaut, which is pretty cool. And then this Wendigo might be the second. I'm gonna use this as the background as I rank, my opinion, the series. So we're gonna start with the worst, Cannonball. If you just go by upper body, he might actually have the second best upper body and all that kind of coolness, but he has no lower body, which means you cannot really play with him. I mean, I just can't see you doing much with this figure. Therefore, it is the lowest ranking, and I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the best, this would be a 2, maybe. Next, originally in package, I thought Guardian was really cool, but he doesn't really come with anything other than the major things that you need to make the Wendigo. So overall, he probably rates on maybe a 4 on my rating scale. Nothing super special, decent fig, just because they don't make any Alpha Flight guys, so this one's pretty cool to have, but overall, not too great. The next would be Boom Boom, because she does come with a changeable head and hands, and a little bit of a fire here. So I'm going to give her a 6 rating, which is not bad for this type of figure. It's pretty cool, and I can't imagine them ever making a Boom Boom figure again. So this is the only one that you'll ever really get. Then we have Wolverine. This Wolverine, X-Force Wolverine, really cool because of the claws. I really like that. I'm going to give this figure actually a 7.5. I like the coloring. I like all that. So especially the boots. As you can see, ribbed boots here. So for traction in the snow, which is where he's going to be because he's going to face Wendigo. The next ranked one, highest ranked one, would be Nightcrawler. Nightcrawler, really cool figure. He does have interchangeable heads, which we didn't show in the video, but he does come with interchangeable heads. And this cool tail, and just a really cool figure in general. I loved Nightcrawler as a kid, so that's really cool. And then the best one, without a doubt, oh, by the way, Nightcrawler I would give about an 8.5. Then the best one, and this would be the closest thing to a 10 as a figure can get in my eyes, is this Sinister figure.
What about Juggernaut? He got like a 9.7.
So yeah, but that's a different video. So this one's pretty cool, awesome figure, and just in comparison to Wendigo, the other villain that you'll see here. And if I'm rating Wendigo on a scale of 1 to 10, I would give him about a 9. He's really cool, but Sinister, it's just an amazing figure.
Kermit, have you subscribed yet?
Kermit the Frog has subscribed.
Thank you, Kermit.
You're welcome.